Pre-algebra students, I want to keep working with solving equations by reversing the order of operations. So we know the order of operations, PEMDAS, right? I used to call it PEMA because there's no such thing as division and subtraction. It's just multiplication and addition in different forms. But what works well with PEMDAS is you can reverse it when we solve and call it SAD me. You could add that P at the end. Dealing with parentheses last. So, and that'll come into play in one problem here at the end, like we saw in class the other day. But always remember, get rid of subtraction and addition first. Then get rid of division and multiplication. We're not going to worry about exponents for a while and then deal with parentheses at the very end. So let's take a look at this next example. This is one you saw a couple times in the last class. So how do we do this? Well, first we get rid of any subtraction and addition. So looking for the variable that we're trying to solve for, seeing what's happening to that variable, and getting rid of subtraction and addition first. I've got this minus 5. So on the other side of the equal sign, I'm going to add 5 on both sides. That's going to get me V over 2 equals 8. Now get rid of division and multiplication. Well, I'm dividing by 2. So how am I going to get rid of dividing by 2? I'm going to multiply by 2 over 1. I'm going to multiply by 2 over 1. One of the things that never hurts is turning every number into a fraction by saying if it's a whole number, dividing by 1. So when you have a fraction, you can see when you're multiplying by 2, you're multiplying the numerator by 2. And you're multiplying the denominator by 1, so what ends up happening is you get 2v over 2, the 2's cancel, and you're left with just v equals 8 times 2, which is 16, 16 over 1 times 1, which is 1. And if you wrote 16 over 1, you're not wrong, but we typically just write any number divided by 1 as itself. So let's try another example. So let's start this problem by turning everything into a fraction if we want, and we could do that. Now, that might get you a little confused, but don't want you to be confused. All we're saying now is we're going to reverse the order of operations. Get rid of subtraction and addition, then get rid of division, multiplication, then get rid of parentheses last. There's no parentheses here. There's no hidden parentheses. I mean, there is technically there, but that's not going to affect anything. So get rid of addition, subtraction and addition. I'm going to subtract 18 over 1. So from this side, I'm going to minus 18 over 1. On the other side of the equal sign, I also need to subtract 18 over 1. Over here, these cancel. That's why I did it. Adding 18 over 1 and subtracting over 1 cancel, and I get x over 10 equals. To add and subtract fractions, you need to have a common denominator, which we do. And 16 minus 18 is negative 2 over 1. Now, we're on to getting rid of division. I'm going to multiply by 10 over 1 to both sides, and I'm going to get these 10s to cancel. I get x over 1, which is just x. Over here, I get negative 2 times 10, which is negative 20, divided by 1 times 1, which is 1, and negative 20 over 1 is negative 20. Good? We just keep rolling on. Try this example on your own. With this example, pause the video, see if you can get what I'm going to get at the end, and write down all of your steps. So start by writing down this equation. So if I was doing this on a spare piece of paper, I would start by saying 3p minus 10 equals 62. And then work in a vertical fashion down in the same way that I have been. So get rid of get rid of subtraction and addition first. Then get rid of division and multiplication. All right. So I hope you started by adding 10 to both sides of the equal sign, just like I did here. You don't have to draw this dotted line. I'm just trying to show you where the adding happens. Now you're left with 3p equals 72. Then I hope you got rid of multiplying by 3 by dividing both sides by 3. The 3's cancel, and I'm left with 72 divided by 3. If you needed to reach for a calculator to figure that out, that's fine, but you should have gotten 24. If you want, now you could check your answer by substituting 24 in over here. What's 3 times 24 minus 10? Well, that's 72 minus 10, that's 62. And oh, look at that, 62 equals 62. I know I got the right answer. All right, let's try another example. Again, pause the video, try this one on your own. Write the original equation down and see how it goes. I'm going to start by subtracting 18 from both sides of the equal sign. Remember, this equal sign creates this barrier, and if you add and subtract, you do it on both sides of that barrier. 44 minus 18 is 26, so now I have negative 2x equals positive 26. Now we divide both sides of the equation by negative 2. We divide every number by negative 2, the number over here and the number over here. We get x equals 26 over negative 2, which is negative 13. Now this is a good example to look at because it has something we may not have seen in a while, which is this negative coefficient of x. Notice I did it just like any other number, and I divided a negative by a negative to get positive x. All the same rules apply. Let's try another example. Get rid of the adding 6 by subtracting 6. Get b over negative 2 equals 15. Now multiply both sides by negative 2 over 1. When you multiply by negative 2 over 1 over on the left, the negative 2's cancel and you're left with positive b. Over here you get 15 times negative 2, which is negative 30, divided by 1, which is negative 30. And I think one more example, and this is the tricky one. Whenever you notice in this problem, we don't have x by itself, so I am going to put this parenthesis in. Now it really matters. So remember, we're going to get rid of subtraction and addition, division, multiplication, exponents, then parentheses, and in that order. So while you might see subtraction, it's inside a parenthesis, so don't get rid of it. So I'm going to get rid of this division and multiplying. I'm going to multiply both sides of this equation by negative 2 over 1. Negative 2 and negative 2 cancel, and I'm left with x minus 3. And that equals negative 8. And this is why it's so nice to see this parenthesis here. Now what you can do is you can add 3 to both sides, and when you add 3 to both sides, you get that x is equal to negative 5. All right, so that's the video for tonight. It's more practice with solving 1- and 2-step and 3-step equations. We're going to keep working on it. Keep looking for common themes. Keep looking at where the variable is in the equation and how you isolate that variable by undoing the order of operations in the opposite order. All right, have a good night, pre-algebra students. Peace.